safe and joyous holiday season.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
Hello and welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki alongside our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Meteorologist Justin Storm is looking to buy a cow, so he's out today. Gave him the day off so he can complete his search today, hopefully. Bridgette, how's your day going? It's nice out. Almost feels like spring.
It's a great day. So as soon as we wrap this deal up, me and a pair of snowshoes are heading on out the door.
Oh, beautiful weather for that. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yep, it's going to be great.
Yeah, temperatures across the area are pretty much close to the freezing mark, and even a little bit of light rain. Yeah, that's right, light rain southwest of the FM area. It's light. It was freezing rain earlier, but temperatures have warmed up enough where don't have to worry about that freezing rain threat. This will give the road crews really good shot at clearing up all those ice patches on the interstate. Still going to be some slippery travel, but nothing like it has been over the last few days. And if you like today, well, get out and enjoy today, although we do have cooler weather on the way here as we head into the upcoming holiday weekend. No Arctic air. I don't know if you remember last New Year's Eve, but I haven't double-checked, but I believe it was bitterly, bitterly cold last New Year's Eve.
I distinctly remember last New Year's Eve, and it was like minus 20 actual air temps. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's going to be better,
yeah.
I mean, like we're above zero this year, Dean? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, we'll be in the 20s. Okay. We'll be in the 20s. Yeah, nice. That's like a heat wave. Well, so some pretty decent, quiet weather heading into this upcoming holiday weekend. A typical January start for the new year in terms of temperatures. But then things do change as we head into next week. I know a lot of people traveling down to Frisco for the big championship game, and I would suggest if you're thinking about leaving early and making a whole week out of it, I'd wait till Wednesday to leave because we got a pretty big storm system that'll be racing through the central part of the country. How it affects us is still a little bit up in the air. But if it doesn't affect our area, it's going to affect areas down to our south. So traveling down south to Frisco would be very tough Monday and Tuesday. But things will improve as we head towards the middle and latter part of the upcoming week. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later. But we've got to take a quick break here. And when we come back, we've got a guest coming up here, Bridgette. Who's our guest today?
We do. Her name is, and it's going to take me a moment to make sure I get it right, Ashley Podhradsky. She is with Dakota State College in South Dakota. We're going to talk about cybersecurity, but especially on farm and at agribusinesses. So before we get to Ashley, you and I are going to come back. We're going to talk about the weather and a few headlines that are out there in the ag community, and then we'll have Ashley at 1:20. So stay tuned.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The death toll in the Buffalo area following the Christmas weekend blizzard has risen now to 34. The National Guard deploying 100 military police officers to the city in an attempt to continue keeping non-emergency vehicles off city roads. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi is in Buffalo with more.
All around the city, dump trucks have been hauling snow off city streets and creating mountains of snow. Meanwhile, military and state police are out enforcing the driving ban, trying to keep drivers off the road so that these guys can work around the clock.
The temperatures are expected to rise into the 50s in the next few days, which could create a cycle of melting and freezing and raise the possibility of flooding. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says that Southwest Airlines passengers who have been left stranded at airports nationwide will be made whole. He tells ABC News he's been in communication with company CEO Bob Johnson about what went wrong, and certainly a lot has.
We've never seen a situation, at least not on my watch, with this volume of disruption. So this is going to take an extraordinary level of effort by Southwest, and we will mount an extraordinary effort to make sure that they're meeting their obligations.
As thousands of migrants continue amassing at the southern border, the Supreme Court has ruled 5-4 to keep the Trump-era COVID rule, Title 42, in place.
This has been a contentious political issue, and while it's been playing out through the courts, families have been coming here to the border. This morning, we've seen mothers and kids who are sleeping on the sidewalks in an all-out downpour of rain here, and now they're unsure of what to do next.
ABC's Will Carr in San Diego. It has now been 7 weeks and still no significant suspects in the murder of those 4 University of Idaho students. The police now asking for help, which isn't a great thing, according to ABC News consultant Brad Garrett.
What we don't know is what they actually have at this point, so we'll have to see. But I will tell you, when you ask the public generally for help, it means you're stuck.
You're listening to ABC News.
Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. You can now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible end-of-the-year sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL.
Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel.
Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel.
Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building at end of the year savings. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
You can trust your car to us at United Automotive Tech Center.
Is your car ready for cold winter weather? See the experts at United Automotive Tech Center. United Automotive has been serving the FM area for over 90 years. Get your car fixed right the first time, on time, with United Automotive Tech Center. Now with 3 locations, 2 in Fargo and 1 in West Fargo.
Expert repairs from people who care. United Automotive Tech Center.
Don't ring in the new year the same old way this year. Help your family ring in 2023 with a getaway to Arrowwood Resort in Alexandria. Arrowwood's New Year's Eve package includes passes to the Big Splash Indoor Water Park and breakfast for 4. A 2-night stay is required. New Year's Eve entertainment at Arrowwood is family friendly, and there's going to be some dancing. There's always activities for kids, and you can relax at the Darling Reflection Spa. Say Happy New Year with Arrowwood Resort. Call 866-386-5263 or visit arrowwoodresort.com.
Sail with American Queen Voyages, where history comes alive and discovery runs deep. Enriching adventures await in North America's mighty rivers, Great Lakes, oceans, and expeditions to the wilds of Alaska. Visit American Queen Voyages at aqvoyages.com, cruising North America now. Call 844-744-0794 or contact your travel professional. American Queen Voyages. Discovery runs deep.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
I hate the struggle of tough, greasy messes on my stovetop. So I just freak, wipe, and I'm done.
When I'm frustrated with stubborn bathtub soap scum, I just freak, wipe, and I'm done.
Mr. Clean Clean Freak delivers an innovative cleaning experience with a powerful deep cleaning mist that starts working on contact to break down tough messes in seconds.
Just freak,
wipe,
done.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank you for joining us today on this spring-like day. See, told you spring would get here, Bridgette. Didn't take, only took a week after a deep freeze.
It's only like 80 days till the first day of spring, so hold on, folks. We're almost there.
It is. I know. That's the positive spin to things. And boy, I'll tell you what, we've had a lot of requests on a lot of emails asking about the trip down to Frisco. Everybody's kind of getting all pumped up. We're gonna have to ask Ashley if she's a Jackrabbits fan too. Should we ask her before we let her on, or should we ask her after?
I think either way, she's going to be quite honest with us.
Oh, boy. So looking forward to having Ashley come up here in about 7 or 8 minutes here. But until then, you want to hit on any ag topics here real quick, Bridgette?
Well, I had a couple of listener questions, Dean, and I thought this would be helpful for us to cover those today. So let's answer one question first of all, and that was, why is it so hard to find eggs lately? I don't know if you've been out shopping lately, Dean. Have you had any problems finding your favorite dozen eggs?
You know what? I've got a friend who has some chickens, and so I literally buy my eggs off of him. So
I see no problem.
Right?
None.
Absolutely.
With that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. But when I have been to the store, there's some empty shelves in the egg department. Why is that?
Well, so we've talked a lot about the bird flu this summer, right? This is a year where we're fast approaching some of the highest numbers of flock euthanization that we've had to do for quite some time. So that's part of it. Also, it's the holiday season. Everybody was baking before you got to Grandma's house. So the demand on eggs really high. I'm going to blame you for the next one.
Uh-oh.
Storms, road conditions, trucks couldn't get there.
Sure.
So there were some problems. And what does everybody do for New Year's? Well, for the new year. How's that? Y'all create a resolution, don't you?
Yeah, and how many do we stick to?
And so many say, this is my year, I'm starting a new diet, which sounds like a great idea. Eggs, especially on the current trend of high protein diets, they're a huge part of that. And so when you see beef and pork costs are up significantly at the grocery store, eggs are a slightly cheaper alternative for sources of protein. So with new diets starting, with people looking at food inflation and their out-of-pocket costs for the grocery store these days, yeah, there's less eggs on the shelf. Sorry to say that.
And hard-boiled eggs are the best to snack on, aren't they? I love them.
They are.
Absolutely.
They're my favorite.
Oh, man.
So those are some things to think about right now with what's going on.
Right. And what about, just in case we don't have time at the end here, what about bovine research helping human infertility? What's that all about?
Well, and some days we just run out of time to talk about things. So this is a good topic to get to while we have a moment. And that happens to be the fact that, okay, maybe nobody wants to say this, but when you compare a pregnant woman to a pregnant cow, there's a lot of similarities there, right? Both mammals. And some basic research is going on actually down at University of Nebraska, Lincoln, where they're looking at reproductive biology of cows, and they think they can find some significant long-term potential on addressing infertility for women. What they're looking at is using the bovine reproductive biology to look at genetic analysis, culture of reproductive tissues. The basic research really could have significant applicability in human infertility challenges. So they're drawing some parallels. There's more work to be done. Much like humans, cows ovate one egg every reproductive cycle. The gestational length is similar. About 9 months, cows have a very similar cycle, similar endocrine hormones, and the size of the ovary is similar. So some of those applications we can see in cattle, we can actually use to help diagnose in humans. So that work is continually ongoing down there in Nebraska.
That would be a great breakthrough, no doubt. And
Well,
never
we
would
can
I
do.
ever relate a pregnant woman to a cow if I don't want two black eyes.
I can tell you that there are a fair number of livestock producers out there who may have insinuated that their wife, spouse, significant other had some similarities in labor to a cow, and maybe it's just best to learn at that moment we shouldn't talk about it. How's that sound?
That's a better way to put it, no doubt about it. And I believe we're coming up on break here, and when we come back, again, we will have Ashley, I should say, Podhradsky. I hope I said that right, Angela.
We're going to ask Ashley to make sure we get it right. I've heard her say it before, and I was wildly impressed. And she is going to be talking with us about cybersecurity on farm and agribusinesses. She is with Dakota State University out of Madison, South Dakota, and we'll be able to visit with her when we come back right after this.
Hi, this is Kevin Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer's Auction Company. Pfeiffer's upcoming December auctions include 280 acres of exceptional cropland in Clay County near Barnesville and Craigness, Minnesota, 295 acres of cropland in Ransom County, 320 acres of cropland in Lemoore near Dickey, North Dakota, 780 acres of cropland near Chaffee, North Dakota, and Cass County, 503 acres in Bottineau County near Westover, and an excellent line of gravel trailers and semi for DG Trucking in Bismarck. View these auctions and many more land and equipment auctions at Pfeiffer's.com.
Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. You can now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible end-of-the-year sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL.
Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel.
Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel.
Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building at end of the year savings. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
Hey, it's Jay Thomas. I'm out on the road a lot with my rides truck, but even when I'm home, I'm always near a PetroServe USA. And when I go to PetroServe, they always have great hot coffee. I love the Lewis and Clark Hazelnut. Breakfast, lunch, cold drinks, and everyone's favorite, the 4 for $4. Your car or truck has choices too, with American refined petroleum straight from Canada and the Bakken. From regular to premium, unleaded E85 or 88, PetroServe USA has what you need and your vehicle needs as well. Helping America fuel better.
Celebrating 100 years with $100. Listen every Thursday all year long as we thank you for being a loyal WDAY listener. This is our year, and we want to make it yours too by giving you cash. Listen during Bonnie and Friends, The Coffee Club, WDAY Midday, and The Jay Thomas Show. And if you hear the cue to call, be caller 9 and win $100 from the station celebrating 100 years all year long. AM 970 and FM 93.1 WDAY.
And welcome back. This is WDAY Radio, the Weather and Ag in Focus Hour with myself, Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, and Chief Meteorologist, Dean Wysocki. And I am so excited, Dean. We have a guest with us today. Maybe it was bad timing on my part to have a South Dakota guest on right before we go to this national championship game. But I think we can be fair. I think it'll be fun. So I would love to introduce to everyone Ashley. Okay, and I got to make sure I sound this out. Podhradsky. Did I say it right, Ashley?
Yeah, I've been enjoying listening to all of your attempts.
Oh boy!
Ahead of and as Ashley Podhradsky. But I don't get hung up on it because it's hard. And I used to be Schmidt and people understood that. So I get it.
Absolutely. And Ashley, we are so thrilled you're here. Ashley is the Vice President for Research and Economic Development at Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota. And I had the great fortune to listen to Ashley speak here a couple weeks ago. And she talked about cybersecurity, which first of all affects every one of us. But second of all, when it comes to farm and agribusiness security, this is pretty vital. So, Ashley, how did you wind up getting into this realm and not even just specializing in farm or anything yet, but how'd you get here?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, I thought I'd like to be an attorney. And so growing up, I thought I'll go to law school. And in middle school and high school, I learned that, as technology was coming out and computers, I'm like, oh, well, that's fun. I like that. And I continued on that path. And so I earned my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate in cybersecurity. at Dakota State University. So in doing the area of digital forensics, I can see some of that merger between law and cyber investigations. So that's pretty neat as well.
So let's just start with, we can maybe figure out why we as individuals are at risk. How does that apply to the farm? Why are farmers at risk? Who wants to see their information?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything we do is digital. So unlike when we were kids and things were on paper and filed, we have that same concept, but digital data. And as we have more valuable information that is stored digitally, the bad actors, they want to get a hold of it. And so it doesn't matter what discipline you're talking about. Every area has valuable data that bad actors around the world would like to have access to. And so here in South Dakota, with agriculture being our largest economy, we have a responsibility to help individuals protect the data that they have at their farm or ranch, and better protect that critical infrastructure that we have in South Dakota.
And actually, I mean, some hackers will take the data, they'll steal the data, and then they'll, if you want to call it, hold ransom, and hey, we want to get paid, and we'll give you your data back. Has that been a problem in the ag community?
Oh, absolutely. One of the largest ransoms paid was $11 million to a meat packer. That a meat packer lost, and so that's one of the largest ransoms that have been paid. But there's a little bit of a twist in ransomware lately. They'll bait you with some sort of phishing attack. So perhaps you get a text message or an email that says your Amazon package is delayed, or we're unable to get your order to you, or click here for your new invoice. So they bait you with some sort of phishing attempt. And from there, if you open it, you might not notice anything on your system, but they've infected your computer. And so from there, they're able to gain access to your data. So the old school model of ransomware was that they would encrypt your hard drive, and you'd have a notice that you can't access your data unless you pay this ransom. Well, the new way of ransomware is that right ahead of encrypting your data, they exfiltrate a copy out. And so if you don't pay the ransom, they have another carrot to attempt to get you to pay that, because they'll say, if you don't pay the ransom, we'll then take this data and we'll release it publicly. And so there was a hospital down in Florida that, are you going to allow bad actors to release medical records if you can help? You're not going to. So there's a little bit of a twist that they've had in ransomware lately.
There are so many facets here. One of the things that brought this to mind for me was recently the FBI gave a warning to agribusiness and agriculture in general about some of these attacks. And do you have some examples of some of the attacks that have happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So most of these attacks, it's important to keep in mind, is they kick off with some attempt of social engineering. Social engineering is when you're attempting to gather information that you wouldn't necessarily have access to by tricking someone to give it to you. So if I was to say, hey, could you give me your username and password, or could you validate your username and password in person, you would say, well, why would I need to do that? That's silly. Whereas if you get an email that looks like it's coming from your bank and they're telling you that you need to change your credentials, or that a bad actor got into your account, we need to secure it or protect it better, so click here to change your password, you might believe it. And so social engineering is simply tricking people to do things that you wouldn't likely do in a physical environment. And so what happens once they have your credentials, then they have access to your data, your network, all of the information that you stored about your organization, and then they can do different things with it. And so the FBI has seen an uptick in attacks targeting our ag community, specifically for that. And in addition, we're seeing a lot of the new emerging technology that has been brought into the agriculture community has been compromised in different areas. And so they need to protect that. Those tractors have a connection back to a server. And so making sure that that connection is secure, that it's that bad actors can't get access to it. That's an area of importance for the ag community as well. But yes, the FBI has put out alerts for the ag community because they have seen an uptick in the number and success of attacks targeting that area.
And Ashley, approximately how much money has been paid out from these scammers, if you will, in the ag community? Do you have a number on that by chance?
No, I mean, I know that the largest one was $11 million for JBS, and that was a Bitcoin payment. But a lot of organizations don't like to raise their hand and say, we just paid out a significant sum. And so it's an area that they like to protect. And so I don't have a quantifiable figure to aggregate the attacks across the country, but through anecdotes, we can demonstrate that it is an ongoing significant concern.
So much going on. I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions that I think people might have on their minds. So if we have someone who's listening and who says, I'm in the farm community and I have a quick question, you can reach us at 701-293-9000 today, and we can put you on air to ask your question. For those who just recently joined us, we are visiting with Dr. Ashley. Oh, here we go again.
Podhradsky.
Podhradsky. I got to remember to start with the pod, then I get it right. Okay, and she's with Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota. We're talking about farm and ranch cybersecurity. It's the bottom of the hour, 1:29 in the afternoon. We are going to touch base with some of our sponsors, but when we return, our questions are going to continue for Ashley, especially things about your Red Lab and how you're working with farmers and potentially their equipment, just like you said, and what should we be doing to protect our information on farm. So we'll be right back.
Start the new year off with Family Dollar. Stock up on brands like Hawaiian Punch, General Mills, and Red Baron. Plus, keep things clean and organized with All, Snuggle, Purex, and an array of storage items. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
What do you call a place that feels like home every time you walk in? A place with plenty of TVs to watch a Saturday or Sunday game and still be able to carry on a conversation. It's known for delicious lunch specials, soups, and appetizers made from scratch every day. We call it Midtown Tavern, where they don't skimp on food or drinks anytime. Head to Midtown and enjoy Wednesday wine night, live music nights, and Dwayne's Pizza any day of the week. That's Midtown Tavern, Highway 10 East in Moorhead. See Facebook for specials, watch parties, and live music.
America's kids are our kids, and they're at risk. Parents are being told they should have no control over their kids' education. And states are taking over health decisions, even letting children decide their gender or to have an abortion. Now Rob Schmidt is on Newsmax all this holiday week, and he's warning about the real dangers to our kids. Rob Schmidt exposes the dangers of the woke agenda to our children and what the big media isn't telling you. Tune in tonight for Rob Schmidt and his special, Kids at Risk. You'll be shocked by what you learn. Plus, watch Newsmax for Greta Van Susteren, Eric Bowling, and more for the real news you need to know. It's the hottest cable news channel on all major cable systems. Millions are switching to Newsmax for news they can trust. I watch Newsmax all the time. So this holiday week, check out Newsmax and Rob Schmidt tonight. Make the switch to Newsmax. You won't look back.
Hello, this is Elise Pucklich, and as another year winds down, all of us at Pucklich and Valley City want to thank you for your business. It's true that this time of the year, giving really is better than receiving. And during Chevy's Red Tag event, we're giving you special event savings on our largest Chevy inventory in months. So from our family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from everyone at Pucklich Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City. Have a safe and joyous holiday season.
Your new one-stop shop for the latest in news, weather, sports, and community happenings is WDAYRadioNow.com. Stay up to date online, on your phone, on the go. Interviews with newsmakers, all your favorite local shows on demand. For those days when you don't want to miss anything. Get your forecast so you're always in the know when it comes to the weather. And find information on shows and personalities. If it's happening now, it's happening on WDAYRadioNow.com. That's WDAYRadioNow.com.
Sail with American Queen Voyages, where history comes alive and discovery runs deep. Enriching adventures await in North America's mighty rivers, Great Lakes, oceans, and expeditions to the wilds of Alaska. Visit American Queen Voyages at aqvoyages.com, cruising North America now. Call 844-744-0794 or contact your travel professional. American Queen Voyages. Discovery runs deep.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Get ultra strong for your South Pole. Charmin keeps your undies whiter than the North Pole. A shiny hiney, a brand new year. Call it a Charmin. Happy New Year. May your holidays be Charmin, clean, merry, and bright. May all your undies be Charmin, clean white.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Start the new year off with Family Dollar. Stock up on brands like Hawaiian Punch, General Mills, and Red Baron. Plus, keep things clean and organized with all Snuggle, Purex, and an array of storage items. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, alongside Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. Justin Storm, Meteorologist Extraordinaire, is off today. But in his stead, we have a fantastic guest, Dr. Ashley Podhradsky. I think I got closer that time.
You did.
She is the VP. She is the VP for Research and Economic Development at Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota. And we're talking about farm and ranch cybersecurity. There are so many questions to ask here. And the biggest one that comes to mind for me is, you touched on it earlier, software from the equipment that farmers are using and that connection back to a server, etc. Are there things that farmers can do to try to prevent them being at risk where their tractors literally get locked up and can't move?
Yeah, and we've seen some of that in Ukraine. With the war with Russia, we've seen them compromise equipment in the field, and they're vulnerable. So we're doing a few things. One, Dakota State University and South Dakota State University entered into an agreement and was funded through the South Dakota legislator to fund cyber ag research. And so the legislator gave the two universities $1.25 million to work with, to have faculty researchers work with industry partners to identify vulnerabilities in cyber ag and then come up with ways to address that. And so we had two proposals funded this last round. One is from satellite to cloud, novel methods ensuring agriculture data confidentiality and integrity. And the second is designing the secure cyber infrastructure for precision ag in South Dakota based on LP-WAN technology. And so right now, SDSU is the ag powerhouse in South Dakota, and we are the cyber powerhouse at Dakota State. And so working together, we're building an environment where we can study the different types of technology that's seen in the agriculture industry to understand the vulnerabilities, the risk, and then from there come up with ways to better protect it, which will then better protect the ranchers and farmers that are feeding our state and country.
Because you guys, as farmers and ranchers, are just as big a part of national food security as anyone else. And you're exactly right.
Absolutely.
Keeping their data safe matters tremendously. So when it comes to some of these password keepers, MFAs, multi-factor authenticators, do you have an opinion or suggestions for people about whether or not to use them or how to use them best?
Yeah, one of the things I say is that good hackers, they're not going to hack their way in. They're going to log in because they've been able to get your login credentials from some sort of data leak online or the dark web. And so it's important that you're using unique, secure passwords for every technology, application, or device that you're using. And you're going to think, well, I have 60 different usernames and passwords. And yeah, that's probably right. I looked in mine ahead of this. I have 182. But I use an app called LastPass. KeyPass, 1Password, they're all the same. And what it is, you have one secure password that you're able to use for a database that keeps all of your unique usernames and passwords. And so you don't have to remember it, and it'll auto log in for you. So I'm able to have the same app on my phone that's on my computer, and I have unique secure passwords for everything. But I have one really good long secure password for that app, password manager. So it's a good idea for anyone to adopt a password manager for themselves, and then also for their environment and business.
So go ahead, Dean. Sorry.
No, well, I was going to say, Ashley, so in the ag community, are you finding that most of our ag community is pretty well versed in cybersecurity, or is it the opposite?
Well, I think just like any industry, everyone could use some guidance. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what critical infrastructure you're supporting. Everyone has some shortcomings that we can help and address. And it's all about not being the lowest hanging fruit, if you will. When bad actors, they're looking for a payday. And if you have a password that has been leaked in a database online, and you're using that same password for your bank account, and they can try that and they can log in, it's easy for them to pick you as a victim, opposed to someone who has unique secure passwords for everything. So it's all about that layered approach, but not being the weakest link, and ensuring that you have multiple things in line to protect yourself. So the password manager is one, but then also making sure that everything is updated, that you're using multi-factor authentication. That's in the room when we met. When I talked about MFA, people realized, oh yeah, I use that, but they just didn't know what it was called. So when you log into your account and then you get a text message that says, enter this ID, enter this code to validate that you are who you say you are. So those are two very simple things that cost $0 that you should do with all of your accounts.
So let's talk about something called the Red Lab. I've heard you mention this before, and it sounds wildly intriguing to me. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so we have the Madison Cyber Labs, which are 17 different research labs, all with a nexus to cybersecurity. So we have super talented faculty, staff, and research engineers at DSU that are all focused around their area of expertise. So the Deep Red Lab is pioneering new offensive-based approaches to compromise systems. We have the Defend Lab that is finding ways to protect against that. We have our Digital Forensics Lab, DigForce, that is looking at ways that they can investigate cyber attacks. So we have 17 different labs that are all looking at different areas, but together we're addressing different critical needs within cybersecurity.
And Ashley, our producer Jacob asked, he said, ask Ashley about the TikTok kids that are teaching people how to surf the dark web.
Oh, well, I'm not on TikTok. I like Dusty Johnson's Block the Talk. I think that's brilliant. I'm not on TikTok. But with TikTok bans being, it was just in the U.S. government, the House of Representatives was announced yesterday and today of their block. So I can't say specifically about that, but the dark web is an area of expertise of mine in accessing that for cyber intelligence. So I would say if you don't need to be on the dark web, don't. But it actually was created by our U.S. government. We have foreign agents across the world that need to communicate back with our government, and they need to do so in a secure manner. So the dark web has been around for a long time, and like anything, you can use it for nefarious reasons. But it was designed by the U.S. government for communication from our agents across the world to communicate back.
Ashley, I tell you what, with all the expertise you have on things like the dark web, cybersecurity, I don't know if I would enjoy giving you my phone and laptop to review my chaos, or if I should just keep the stupid things I do to myself. So,
yes.
When people ask you about cybersecurity, what's probably the number one concern they have on their minds?
I think most often it's fear. People say cybersecurity and they don't understand it. And so they get a little apprehensive about it because they don't know where to start. And that's where we have a really awesome new partnership with the U.S. Small Business Administration. South Dakota was one of 3 states that received $1 million in funding to help small businesses with cybersecurity. And so we're able to help anyone in the ag industry as long as they have under 500 employees. But we can help them understand where their risks lie, what vulnerabilities they have, and how they can mitigate those vulnerabilities. So I think the biggest area to answer the question is it's just such an unknown that it makes people nervous. And what we're doing at DSU is we can take that complex subject and break it down into digestible areas so they can understand, here's what I have, if we're talking about a farm, here's what I have for technology at my farm. Here's the vulnerabilities and risks these cameras or RFID tags bring into my business. And here's how I can mitigate that to ensure that bad actors can't compromise my network and steal my data. But more importantly,
now, Ashley,
secure it.
Well, that was going to be my next question. As we approach our last few minutes together, what's your advice that you want to make sure that every farmer and rancher hears, and even those of us as consumers? What are the things that you really want us to pay attention to in the short term?
Yeah, so the resource through the U.S. Small Business Administration, we have $1 million to help the small businesses of South Dakota. So we have research engineers here in the Mad Labs that will take a look at your environment and tell you where your risk lies. And then we'll do some dark web monitoring of your names and emails and things like that. And then cyber intelligence. And then we will work with you with an MSP. So your managed service provider, we can help pay for the mitigation that the farm or ranch needs to be cyber safe. And so it truly is a comprehensive program. So we can, if you go to dsu.edu/SBA cyber, they can sign up for the program. Beyond that, making sure that you keep your systems updated, you use unique secure passwords, you have multi-factor authentication turned on, and you're using a password manager. That's 5 good things to get you started.
And Ashley, if people want to find you online and they have any questions, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, that website, because you'll be able to connect with me through there, along with an email address that goes right into my inbox. So dsu.edu/SBA cyber.
And one last question.
Ashley.
One last question before we leave, Ashley. Is it go Bison or go Jackrabbits next weekend?
I know that I would say go Jackrabbits, and I hope people around here aren't listening, but I got to say that they're just 30 miles up north and South Dakota, so I'm going to say go Jackrabbits.
It's good. It's a good thing Justin isn't here because it'd be tied. He'd probably say the same thing. Hey, while Bridgette and I would say go Bison.
Yep. He's a UND grad. And
I got to stay
Ashley,
with the South Dakota school.
Well, before you go, Ashley, I wanted to also say thank you for I have the logo, the reminder of doing smart things on the web, your little cyber her, the gal. I've got her sticker, so I'll remember to keep that handy and share that with people online.
Thank you. Well,
Download the app, sign up, and say bye-bye, bugs. Tommy's Express Car Wash is that easy. Tommy's offers a cleaner car wash and an overall better experience. Wash your car as often as needed. And the best part, after 3 washes, it pays for itself, and you can use it at all 3 other FM locations. Download the app, pre-buy, and skip the line. Or stop by one of their 3 locally owned Tommy's Express Car Wash locations. Tommy's Express Car Wash. Love your ride.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage. N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungeredInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Would you enjoy having 3 hot meals a day, someone did your dishes, laundry, and helped manage your health concerns? For over 125 years, the Veterans Home has been providing quality care for veterans and their spouses. You were there for us. Now let us be there for you. Call us at 701-683-6500 or visit ndvh.nd.gov.
This ad is sponsored by the North Dakota Cares Coalition and aired in cooperation with the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Beans tested their chart resistance today. For the American Ag Network, I'm Rich Rissett with this closing market. Most grains were firm on the day. Corn got up and early in this morning right after the bell and held those positions through most of the day. Winter wheats also made some modest gains, while spring wheat hemmed in hot on either side of unchanged and was lower for most of the day. Soybeans, however, they did test their chart resistance at $15 and trade above it at times today. A little bit of support coming from soybean meal, which had a nice rally today and posted very nice gains, while soy oil did trade negatively today following crude oil lower. Crude oil prices were about 2% lower at times today on recession fears. There was a little bit of optimism this morning with the Dow Jones posting some gains. However, that quickly turned lower, and both NASDAQ and Dow are down for the day quite sharply. Livestock remained mixed most of the day, with feeders showing support, however, even against the rally in corn prices today. Front-month fats saw some support while deferred contracts were lower. While in the hog market, we saw the inverse, with front months trading lower and deferred months gaining some steam. The dollar also saw some two-sided trade today, posting some losses early on. However, it did gain some strength around midday and held that for the rest of the trading hours. Even so, though, the VIX continued to consolidate near 22 today. Let's get a look at the closing commodities. March corn up 8 at 682 3/4. January beans up 24 1/4 at 1506 1/2. Bean meal January up 14.50 a ton at 466.30. Bean oil January down 185 at 65.80. Wheat Chicago March up 11 at 785 1/2. Kansas City March up 3 at 882 1/4. And the March Minneapolis wheat is up 1 at 935 1/4. Live cattle February down 7 at 157.80. Feeders January up 37 at 183.47. And the February lean hogs, they are down 67 at 90.80. The Dow right now is off over 200 points. The dollar sits at 104.1, and crude oil is trading down about $0.50 at just under $79 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Rissett.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, alongside our wonderful, talented Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And boy, Ashley is she's one smart cookie. Holy cow! I got to go change everything on my laptop and everything now.
I know. Like I said, I am afraid to let her look at my things before she goes, "Look here, you moron! You're doing this completely wrong." And she would know, right? She's the expert. She's going to be able to say, "Hey, fix this. Don't do that." And for all of you keeping those pages of passwords next to your computer, I know we're not supposed to do that. They're there. They exist. And she did have a great suggestion about using password keepers of some sort in order to protect yourself a little more closely.
Right. Exactly. Well, let's take a look at the nation as a whole here. And, well, Mother Nature has kind of quieted her tantrum down that she had last week, at least for the eastern half of the country. It's pretty quiet weather. But the western third of the country, from the Rockies all the way to the West Coast, there is a parade of storm system after storm system just hammering the West Coast. This is good news in terms of moisture because, as we all know, much of California in a severe drought. And although Southern California not getting a whole lot of rainfall out of this, they are getting their fair share. But Central and Northern California absolutely getting pummeled. Numerous flood watches through most of Central California. The Sierra Range getting 5 to 6 feet of snow over the next week. And those storm systems will be transitioning over the Rockies. So, boy, I'll tell you what, if you have any New Year's Eve plans to go skiing, it's looking phenomenal in the Rockies, especially the Colorado Rockies, as they're going to get hit pretty hard. Those storm systems will cross the Rockies, and they will affect our area as we head into next week. But until then, we're looking at some pretty quiet weather. The Arctic air is pretty much bottled up now back into Canada, and they can keep it for a while. It will be back. I don't see it coming back, at least in the same force that the last Arctic blast had, where we were 25 below. That will be coming back, it looks like, early February. When that does come back, it's going to be as cold, at least, as just this last cold snap is. So that first week in February looks to be a really harsh one. And, hopefully after that, then we start to set our eyes towards spring, and hopefully we can get some more moisture up our way, even if it is in the form of snow, because we're in that stormy part of the LRC cycle right now over the next week and a half, where hopefully these systems don't all dive south. A couple of them already have, and we're getting some indications that there's about 2 or 3 more in the pipeline, and we're getting mixed signals next week, but we're getting some indications that they all may pass south of us. So let's hope we can get one of those storms up here to get a little more moisture in the northern plains, because we still need it as well. Just minus the blizzard part. We don't need that, but we definitely need the moisture for sure.
We'd be okay with that. And I do know that as we get into next week, you're going to be able to fine tune that forecast across the states, where folks are going to be traveling as they're on their way to Frisco to watch the Bison play on Sunday, January 8th. So there's some time yet. I think that there's folks that are going to get ready to go, but by all means, we've got a little planning opportunity ahead of us. So, in fact, along the lines of some of those states that people will be crossing, I've got a couple of little tidbits of information for you, Dean.
All
right. As you think about the states that you will be crossing as you travel to Frisco, Texas, folks, which state would be the first in popcorn production? They grow nearly 370 million pounds of popcorn annually.
Oh, this is easy.
Is it?
And it's probably not right, but it's either Iowa or Nebraska. Okay. It's either Iowa or Nebraska. I'm going to go Nebraska.
And you would be correct. It is Nebraska.
I knew it was one or the other.
And which reminds me, I have reached out to a popcorn grower because I think it'd be a lot of fun to visit with someone who raises popcorn and talk about that crop as a part of our show one day. So we're looking forward to getting that. This state's farmers grow 330 million bushels of wheat, which is enough to make 23 billion loaves of bread. What state are you crossing in that situation?
I'm going to say Oklahoma.
Kansas.
That was my second choice.
North. That'd be Kansas.
Okay.
Meanwhile, down in Oklahoma, back in 1972, the American bison was named Oklahoma's official state animal. Surprising considering how many bison fans we have up here, but they are very well suited for western Oklahoma and really are helping to restore a lot of the native grasses and prairies in that part of the state as well. So just a couple of little tidbits for people who are on their way down to Texas. And as a reminder, if you are not going to Texas to watch the bison play, maybe you're going to be planning some other trips, and one of those might be National Cattlemen's Association has their annual meeting February 1st to the 3rd in New Orleans. That's one you can sign up for. Locally on Valentine's Day, February 14th, North Dakota corn and soybean growers are going to have their expo day. That'll be in Fargo at the Fargo Dome. So there are many ag-related meetings that are coming up in the new year, and I'm going to do my best to bring all those to your attention so folks can stop and visit, sign up for them, and gather information before the spring season should start. So there's a number of things that are going on there.
Right, and we will be giving a talk as well, Bridgette, it's next month, correct?
No, when you and I go to Herman, Minnesota?
Yes.
Well, you're right. January is next month. Yeah. I keep thinking we're already in January. In my head, I'm like, oh, it's already January.
It's already
past
January,
Christmas.
right?
We're there. It's fine.
We'll be giving people more information on that if they want to attend that. You've got a busy couple of months. Are you going down to Frisco for the national championship?
I am not actually. I'm a part of a host couple for a wedding that weekend, so staying home to celebrate from probably the comfort of my own living room when it's time to watch the game, but that's not a bad thing.
Good deal. How about you want to hit on a couple more ag topics?
Sure, go ahead. Which ones do you want to look at?
Well, let's see. How about the Dutch livestock industry woes? What can you tell me about that?
Okay, so we heard a little bit earlier in the year that what was going on over in the Netherlands, where literally a lot of their farmers are going to be forced out of business due to the emission standard changes by the Dutch government. They're looking at closing 3,000 productive farms in order to meet some of the European Union's plans. They want to reduce their nitrous oxide and ammonia emission levels by 50% by 2030. A way to do that is to do proposed buyouts on 3,000 different farms. Understand that agriculture in the Netherlands is very intensive, where most member unions, it's a 1-to-1 percentage of farmland producing 6% of the food in the Netherlands. But also, farmers are not happy. They protested earlier this summer because these restrictions are being implemented on them, but not airports, transportation, or construction, a lot of the other big polluters. So farmers are they're being forced to bear the brunt on this. That country in the Dutch are home to 1.5 million dairy cows and calves. They produce about 14 billion kilograms of milk and 3.5 million tons of beef per year. So very intensive agriculture in that country. But unfortunately, that's going to see some very abrupt changes over the next 7 years if they meet these standards.
And I'm sure, they're not the only ones in Europe because, Canada's trying to pass those stricter laws, and that's going to hurt the Canadian agriculture community as well. So, what can they do, really?
Right. There's going to be some real changes that happen globally in agriculture over the short term. We're going to have to watch and see how that affects our markets and what can be done for the U.S. farmer to step up. We do a tremendous amount. Average U.S. farmer already produces enough food for 155 other individuals. How much more maybe we have to bring to the table?
Right. Well, that'll do it today for Bridgette and myself. We want to thank you for joining us. We couldn't do it without you guys. So for Bridgette and myself, have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Get out and enjoy the warm weather. Bridgette, get out and enjoy the snowshoeing. We'll catch you tomorrow at 1 o'clock here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Have a great day.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Here's what's making news at this hour. West Fargo's Battle of the Badges blood drive gets underway today, benefiting